Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tessie and today we're going to be recreating this style. It's a wrap palazzo jumpsuit. If you're new to my channel, you're welcome. If you're yet to subscribe, kindly do that and let's get right into the video. I'm making use of a crepe fabric and I have 3 yards of fabric. So we're going to be cutting out the top parts and I'll be cutting out the back part first. So I folded my fabric into two as you can see. So what I'll do is to chalk the starting point. So I'll chalk my starting point. After doing that, I'll be chalking 2 inches for my zip allowance. We're going to be adding zip at the back side of the jumpsuit. So I'll be chalking 2 inches all the way down. After doing that, I'll connect it into a straight line. So what I'll be doing next is placing my shoulder measurement divided by 2. My shoulder divided by 2 is 8 inches. Then from that point, I'll come down to the armhole line, which is 9 inches. So I'll connect it into a straight line. So what I'll be doing next is taking from the shoulder to the half length. So from the shoulder to the half length is 17 inches. I added 1 inch for joining allowance, which is 18 inches. For the neckline, I'll be chalking 3 inches. Then I'll come down by 2 inches for the back neckline. I'll connect it together and then come down by 1 inch for my shoulder slope and then connect the shoulder. At the chest line, I'll place my bust measurement divided by 4. So the bust divided by 4 plus extra 2 inches for my sewing allowance. At the waistline, that's the half length, I'll place my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 2 inches for my sewing allowance as well. So I'll connect my lines together. After connecting my lines, I'll curve out my back armhole and then cut out the fabric. So take note, we are cutting out the back first. I added 2 inches for the zip allowance. So after doing that, we're going to be cutting out the front. So what I'll do is to fold this in. You can pin this part in. So just fold it in and then we're going to use this to cut out the front. Hope you understand. So for the front, I folded my fabric into two as you can see. So what we'll do next is to chalk out either 5 inches or 4 inches depending on how covered you want it to be. So I will be using 5 inches for mine. So from the center front, I will chalk 5 inches all the way down. So I'm chalking 5 inches all the way down for the wrap. So you can either use 5, 4 or probably 6. After doing that, place your back after the zip allowance. You can see where I folded the zip allowance. So I'll place it in and then cut out the same shape we have there. So what we'll be doing next is working on the neckline area. So from this point, I'm going to slant all the way down here. So what I'll do is come up by 1 inch from this point. So I came up by 1 inch and then from this point, I'll slant all the way down to that 1 inches line. From this point, I will slant all the way down to this point. So just take this aside and then from this point here, that's the neckline here, I'll slant all the way down here. Before doing that, you determine how deep you want your neckline to be. I'm using 8 inches for mine, but it was later too deep. So you could use 7 inches for yours. So from this point, I slanted from that point all the way down to the end point here. So I'll go ahead now to cut out my fabric. So guys, after cutting out the front, what I'll do next is to notch this line here, just notch that line. That's where we are going to overlap the fabric together. So make sure you notch that line. Then this is what it looks like. So that notched line, you're going to place them together, the two notches together this way, and then we're going to stitch them together. It's as simple as that. So you're stitching this part together. But before stitching, we're going to be folding the neckline. So you either pipe it using your bias or you could use the fabric, just fold it in and stitch. So I'll do that, and then for the back as well, before piping the neckline, I'm going to be eliminating my zipper bulge. So at this zip allowance area, I'll come in here by 1 inch, and then from that point, I'll slant it all the way up. So after slanting all the way up, I'll be cutting it out. Then I'm going to be piping the neckline using my bias. I'll use the bias to pipe the neckline. Then also pipe the neckline for the front. After piping my necklines, this is what it looks like as you can see. Then for the back as well, I piped the neckline and then closed the zip allowance area for now. So I had to close this for now. So guys, what I'll be doing next is joining the front together before joining it to the back. So I'll place them this way, right side facing each other. So it depends on where you want the overlap to be. If you want it like this, or if you want this other part on top of it. So it depends on your preference. So I'll just place them this way, and you make sure the two notch parts are together. So you place this notch part on the other notch part, and then after placing it this way, I'm going to give it a stitch all the way down here. After stitching, I'm going to be joining the back and the front together. So I'll place them this way, right side facing each other, and stitch the shoulder line with half inch. So guys, after stitching the shoulder, I will shape the dress. Then for the sleeve, I chalk from the starting point to the length of the sleeve, as you can see, and then use my free hand to carve out my armhole. And then from that point, I went all the way down. So it's just a sleeve with elastic at the down part. So I'll use this other sleeve to cut out the second sleeve. So I'll go ahead now to cut it out. After cutting out the sleeve, this is what it looks like as you can see. So I'll fold the down part and then add elastic at the down part. I'll do the same thing for this part as well. So I'm going to be adding the sleeve to the top part. So I'll go ahead now to add the sleeve and then shape my top part. So guys, for the palazzo part of the jumpsuit, I have several videos on how to perfectly cut and sew a palazzo. So I don't want this video to be that long. You need to watch that video. So I have my sketch lines as you can see. So from the starting point, I chalked my waistline, my hip line, my crotch line. Now to get your crotch line, your hip divided by 4 plus 1 inches. Since this is a jumpsuit, I added extra 2 inches to it. So this is it, and I have the length of the jumpsuit. So you take out your half length and then you chalk the length of your jumpsuit. So at the hip area, I have my hip measurement divided by 4. I added extra 1 inch for joining allowance at this point, and from that point I connected it all the way up. At the crotch line, my round lap divided by 2 plus extra 1.5 inches. After chalking, I connected it all the way up. At the waistline, I placed my waist measurement divided by 4 plus 1 inch, and then from that point, I connected it to this point. So from there, I just made a straight line all the way down since I want it to be a very free palazzo. So at the waistline, I came down here by 1 inch and then connected it together. So guys, watch the video on how to perfectly cut out a palazzo. You'll get what I did here. It's very simple. So I'm going to be cutting this out as you can see. After cutting out the front, so guys, we're good to go with the front. For the back, I've sketched out my lines already. So the difference between the front and the back is I added 2 inches to the back. So you can see I added 2 inches all the way down. So at the waistline at the back, I came up by 1.5 inches and then connected it back to the waistline. So I'll be cutting out my back. So like I said, just watch my video on how to perfectly cut and sew a palazzo. You get what I did there. So guys, after cutting, I'll go ahead now to join the palazzo together. So guys, after joining my palazzo, we're going to be joining it to the top part. Then for the top part, I've added the elastic on the sleeves as you can see. So I've joined the palazzo as you can see. This is what it looks like. So what we'll be doing next is opening up the zip allowance area for both the palazzo and the top part. So I'll go ahead now to open up the zip allowance. That's the back. So you open it up and then you open up the zip allowance area for the front as well. So after doing that, I'm going to be joining them together, right side facing each other. I'll place the top part on the palazzo, place them and then stitch half inch all the way around. So guys, what I did next was to cut out my belt. As you can see, I have two pieces for the belt, so we're going to be attaching it on the jumpsuit. And at the zip allowance area, I added my zip. As you can see, what I will be doing next is to add the belt on that waistline area. So I'm just going to open up the waistline area a bit and then attach the belt inside and then stitch it from inside. Hope you understand. So I'll do the same thing here. We're good to go. I'll show us the end result. So guys, this is the end result. This is what it looks like, as you can see, and this is the back view. Hope this tutorial was helpful. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, drop a comment, and I'll see you guys in my next class. Bye.